podcast that you're listening to is being presented to you with the cooperation of the SJ Network. If you're a person who needs a publicist and you want to appear on podcasts, contact Stephen Joyner at s-j-network.com. Let's get on with the show.
Today, the Sherpa is interviewing voice actor and R&B singer Heath Martin.
I used to be a pop singer. I was in a boy band that dressed like Charlie Brown.
I know I'm going to regret asking, but what was the name of the group?
New Kids on the Blockhead.
Attention, rebels of the Sherpalution. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. We would like to give you a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial simply by heading to www.audibletrial.com/Sherpa. There are over 180,000 titles of audiobooks and podcasts, including this one, to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And now, the one and only Mr. Bruce will lead you into the Sherpa Chalet. As a reminder, our award-winning customer service department is fully trained to ignore you and any of your silly questions.
Coming to you from Sherpa Chalet in beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's time for entertainment interviews in the Sherpa screening room. Grab an aisle seat and a bucket of popcorn, but don't crunch too loud or you'll miss the show. Now, here's your host, Jim, the podcast Sherpa.
Welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room, a presentation of Too Many Podcasts, and it's me, Jim the Podcast Sherpa. I've been waiting for you. Glad you hit the play button. It was getting a little hot down here, you know? And my guest today is a voiceover actor who was once an R&B singer. So when we had our interview, it was a really interesting story of how he went from the world of music to the world of voiceover acting. It sounds like a natural progression, but to hear him say it, it's a really unique story. I always have the folks with unique stories. It's never like, boom, this is my new career. No, it happens magically. Magic, I say, in the land of Podcastia. And I think I need to actually apologize a little bit for this interview because I was laughing so much because Heath was just making me laugh with all of his different character voices. I tried to step away from the microphone every once in a while so that you wouldn't hear my constant laughter during the course of the interview. But it was a lot of fun, and he was a great guy. I really enjoyed getting to know him, and I think you will enjoy getting to know him as well. So have a listen to my interview with voiceover actor Heath Martin. Hello there, Rebels. Today, I am actually speaking to the voice of a superhero. I'm not making this up. He is an R&B singer. He may have saved a couple of lives when he was singing R&B. I don't know. We'll have to find out. And he is a voiceover actor who's done video games, animations. He's also been an actor on the stage, and he's done movies with actor Michael Madsen as well. And we're going to get to know him. His name is Heath Martin, coming to us from California, right?
I'm in Washington State.
Washington. Oh, okay. Yep. I knew it was somewhere out west.
It's the West Coast. You're right up the street. Yeah.
I was close. How you doing, Heath? Welcome to the show.
Good to see you. Do you go by Jim or the Sherpa? Which?
Whichever one you're comfortable with, Jim or Sherpa.
You got it.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, pal.
You've really been a performer since you were a kid.
I have been. Since I could form words, I've been putting on shows for family and whoever would pay attention. Started up singing from literally as soon as I could speak, and I can't speak now apparently, but I've been singing my whole life, and it always just came naturally to me. So performing for family at functions, at get-togethers, that type of thing, that's kind of been my life since forever.
And you were in gospel and R&B groups?
Yeah. I came up in the church singing gospel music, and then that changed to secular music late teenage years, and I still make music to this day.
who are your musical influences?
So many. There are just, I mean, this is a loaded question because there's so many greats, man. But I grew up listening to like Prince and Michael Jackson, Houdini, UTFO, Run DMC, Public Enemy, a lot of hip hop influence. As far as when I was doing gospel music, I was listening to a lot of Take Six, a lot of a cappella, and just really Luther Vandross, Stevie Wonder, anything that had soul to it and feel to it. I really dug Jodeci, Silk, a lot of the 90s R&B groups.
You know, I was listening to your voice demo on your website, heathmartinvo.com, and your voice is so deep. I can picture you like doing like an R&B record, and when the R&B singer kind of has that little solo.
Hey, baby. Yeah. I know it's hard, but you just have to just wait, just hold on, just a little longer. Yeah, yep, that's right up my alley. But what's surprising is I can sing from bass to tenor, but I tend to stay in the baritone to tenor range. I don't, unless I'm doing a bass line harmony or something. I tend to stay away from that down low because everyone's, you talk so deep, you must sound like Barry White. And I can do some Barry White tunes, but that's not really my wheelhouse.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you've been singing long enough. I think a good singer knows exactly what their limitations are too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to hurt yourself. You probably take really good care of your voice, I'm guessing.
I try to. I work it out every day. And in what we do, especially with video games and things like that, we do a lot of effort. So we're doing a lot of yelling and screaming. It can really, be rough. But I came up singing in smoky casinos and clubs and, so like my throat's been through everything. I'm not too worried about it.
You've got resilient vocal cords, in other words.
That's right. I've got tenacious vocal cords.
Okay. So the singing thing was first. Is that right? Or,
Yes, it's been singing since forever. Like that's what I've always wanted my whole life. And I got pretty close, man. I made an album. I was signed with Blackground, which was Aaliyah's label before she passed. And they were a subsidiary of Universal Records. So I've been kind of in the mix, but the business of music is ugly. They always want you to be what the industry needs you to be. So they have to put you in this box. And as a white kid singing R&B music, I was never the right this or the right that. And I've always had weight issues. So I was either too big or, whatever. There's always some reason why they couldn't find a way to market me or whatever, whatever the case may be. And I ended up just getting kind of tired of it, to be honest. So I started making music for me instead of for the labels and stuff like that.
Okay. And
I'd never been happier. And then that's when I got into voiceover.
And you did a little bit of stage acting as well?
Yeah. It started in musical theater. Actually, no, let's go back even further. It started with a group called Encore, which was my church, drama group. We used to do like religious-based plays and stuff like that when I was little. And then as I grew up, I got more into like stage and theater and doing musical theater and drama and stuff at school. So yeah, everything from I was Mr. Cladwell in Urinetown. I was Greg and Sylvia, which was a lot of fun. I usually play mostly antagonists, but that was the one good guy I got to play. So, because with my voice, I just lend myself to the villain. And I don't know why. I'm really a nice guy, man. I swear. But, because I've got these pipes, man, they always say, oh, he's a bad guy. Let's throw him over there with the guys in black. So that's what I do. So I've been, I was also the main antagonist in The Drowsy Chaperone. So, what was that? Mr. Feldzig, the producer. I love it. It's fun.
It's like you're flipping a switch the minute you do that, when you switch into that deeper range.
What do you mean, this range down here? This is just my friend Charles. I like to bring him out now and then. He likes to get a point across if it's not being made eloquently by his host. I'm the host. Well, Heath is the host. Charles is the guy that tells him what it is.
And you did a couple of movies with Michael Madsen.
I was an extra in a Michael Madsen film called Silence. And it was kind of, I don't know if this is a proper term, but I think it is. It's a Bollywood film. And it was released in 2019. It is currently on Amazon. And I'm going to butcher the name if I try to pronounce it the way it's Nimbald Sham, I think is the name of the actual movie in its own dialect. Okay. And it's a supernatural horror, like cop story. It's pretty cool. And Michael Madsen was fantastic. He was a real cool dude, down to earth. Those are the type of actors I love to meet because usually from the music business, everyone is so stuck up and kind of full of themselves. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get in any trouble saying that because everyone kind of knows. And it's a weird vibe and it rubs wrong. But Michael, he was more like a voice actor in the fact that he was open and welcoming and very pleasant to be around. It was awesome.
Hearing about your career, at first I was like a little thrown. I said, that's an interesting career transition going from an R&B singer to a voiceover actor. But it makes sense, though, when you think about it. It
does, because it's all, even in R&B music, we're putting on a show for the ladies, most likely.
Right.
Every show or every song is catered to a certain thing, whether it's sexy, whether it's love, whether it's appreciation, all that type of stuff. It's all a form of invoking a character and bringing something to life. And if you're singing words off of a page, just like voice acting, if you're reading words off of a page and you're not connecting to the copy, you're not connecting to the song, you're not connecting to the audience, it falls flat and it doesn't, you don't invoke those feelings. So what we do as actors and as musicians is we are invoking emotion. We're trying to tug at your heartstrings every time we step to the microphone. And that was what made the transition so easy for me, because I could look at a piece of paper and I could see the rhythm and the melody within the lines on the words of the page. It could be a spot like, with precise control at every turn, the intelligent CTS-V sedan is designed to perform. Anyone can build a car, but only we can build a Cadillac. It could be something so simple as a car spot, but the rhythm and the melody of that spot, and it's a luxury spot just based on the way it's delivered. And it's the same thing with music, and that's one thing that I love about it.
That is such an interesting explanation of that. For a voiceover for a car commercial from the smooth R&B song, and it really all just ties together.
Oh, yeah. And on my demo, I got to combine both of my passions. So I do a Taco Bell spot on my demo, which you've heard, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And the very first thing I do, I go, Taco Bell is the greatest in the world. So I sing the opening spot, and then I go, the all-new Chalupa right now at Taco Bell. So I go through, I get to sing and voice act on the same script. And I don't know if it's ever been done before, so I think I'm breaking new ground here.
You may establish your own little personal
my own niche. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, songs going into the voiceovers. So how did you get involved with doing? Okay, we can say no. I'm going to let you say it about your animation experience.
Oh man. Well, which one are you referring to? Because I'm involved in quite a few projects. I've got a show called, did you say? X-Men. Oh, my mentor is in the X-Men.
Okay.
So my mentor, Steve, let's go to the beginning of my voiceover story.
Okay.
So
sure.
I was fed up with music and I was looking for another creative outlet so that I could still, I can't function if I'm not putting something out that's creative and a part of me. So my wife actually suggested voice acting, and I hadn't thought about it before. I was familiar with some of the players, but I didn't really put a lot of stock into knowing who was who and who did what and all that kind of thing. I knew who Frank Welker was, I knew who Peter Cullen was, and I knew who Mel Blanc was, and I knew who Phil Lamar was. That was it before I got into the business. So the first thing that I did when I started thinking about it and considering it seriously was I went to a website. I went to a YouTube page called VO Buzz Weekly with Chuck Duran and Stacey J. Aswad. And I started watching these videos and these interviews with voice actors and all these guys that are in all the shows that you know and love. right? And I started to find the common threads and themes between all of them to what made them successful. It was like a free masterclass. And everyone that I talked to that asked me, hey, how do I get into voiceover? And it happens almost daily. Go to VO Buzz Weekly and watch all 500 videos or however many there is, and then come back and then we'll revisit the conversation. One of the first guests that I saw on the show was actor Steve Bloom, who is the voice of Wolverine, the voice of Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, the voice of, he's been Starscream, he's been Zeb from Rebels, Sub-Zero. I mean, he's the most prolific, he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most prolific video game actor or voice actor for video games in the world. He's been in a ton of video games. And his wheelhouse was similar to mine. We were kind of in the same range. And, you know, what's the, you're the best at what you do, bub. So his Wolverine is like, I grew up with it. Okay. So that's who I reached out to first. And I got into his classes at boomvoxstudios.com. And I've been with him ever since. I was one of the original students, me in our class. And I've been, he's been my mentor for almost 5 years now. And that's how I got into the scholastic side of it. And I started training with other greats, Mark Grau, Everett Oliver, Mark Cashman, I mean, John Bailey, Mark Ryder. There's such an extensive list. Bob Bergen, Jess Harnell, of mentors and coaches that I just can't even really quantify it. It's amazing. The community itself is so giving of their time and everything. They will go ahead and in our Bloomvox Studios Facebook group, anyone could ask a question and then have Bob Bergen, who's the voice of Porky Pig for 30, 40 years, come in and answer your question right there. Just, I mean, you don't have to go pay him for a conversation or a consultation. It's not, I mean, I'm sure he appreciates it when you do, but he's there to answer questions, and you know, lots of A-list actors are in there doing that. And so I find a lot of joy in paying that forward in everything that I learn. Now I'm kind of teaching to the next generation that's coming up behind me. And, it's been a real joy. But as far as superhero stuff, I love all the nerd stuff. Love it, love it, love it. Like I said, I collect Masters of the Universe figures. I have had toys my whole life. I love Marvel. I love DC. Sorry guys, if you're one or the other, I love both. Okay. I do. I love Dark Horse. I love X-Men. I love all the stuff, man. All the properties, all the movies, all the Star Wars stuff. I'm even starting to get into Star Trek. And when I was little, it was Star Wars only. I was like, no, it's only Star Wars. There is no, but I've grown to appreciate and love the Trek also. But like I said, I always play the villain, right? So I get this gig for a superhero. I booked 2 superhero gigs recently. One was for a show called Fighting All Odds. And I don't know if this will come out before that, so I don't know what I can say and get away with. Okay. But I play a dual role, and one role is just a regular amazing role, and the other is an amazing role also, but it's walking on the dark side, right? So I just lend myself to that, like. And then I book another one called American Kintsugi, which is an animated show in development right now. And I was like, yes, another superhero show. Woo! We're on our way, man. And I get the sides, and I do the audition. And they're like, we really like you for the villain. All right, yes, villain. I do a Star Wars project where I play a Sith Lord.
I was just about to say, tell me that you're doing a Sith Lord voice.
I am. It's this guy. Oh, Zukiel, the Force is not very strong with you. I'll need you to pay closer attention to your sister. She does it right. something like that. He's just dripping like it's like Emperor Palpatine, and I'm sure Ian McDiarmid just loved this aspect of that role. Every word out of his mouth just oozes. It's just dripping with personality and I call it stank. Like in the music business, we say put some stank on it. And that dude put some stank on it. So I try to bring my elements of that whenever I play a role. I just booked a thing called the Byron Chronicles, which is a scripted podcast. And guess what? I'm playing a villain.
What were the odds?
You know what? I'll be honest. I love villains. Vader is my favorite all-time character in pop culture history. But he has a redemption arc. So I'm a big teddy bear, but I love villains. I just do.
Okay. So, and you've also done voices for video games as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first video game that I did was an independent game. No, the very first video game I did was for a European release of a Dragon Ball Z game. I played Broly, which was a blast. My power is overflowing. I can't control it. Sorry, I know that was really loud.
It's okay. I loved it. It was great.
Those big, powerful, villainous... your audience probably knows who Broly is. So he's the big badass, right? He's just rips muscles everywhere. He's stacked. And then when he feels his power, he literally starts small in the game. It's kind of like Street Fighter, the style of the game. And so he starts small and he's like, my power is rising. Overflowing, and then he just goes and gets huge, and it's like round one, and then they start fighting and stuff, right? It's a blast. It's the first game I ever booked, and I loved it so much. Shortly after that, I booked a game called The Killer Djinn, which is available on Stream. I played multiple characters in that game. I auditioned for more than I got, but I got plenty, right? So I play the village. Oh, not a villain. I play the village elder, who is not a villain. Oh, what time will the women be here? It's time to give up the offering. That type of guy, just a little village elder. I play an orc sex slave. Because in this culture, the women are the dominant of the species, of the orc species.
Okay.
So they use the men, and I'd say stuff like, I gotta get my orc tusks. I am yours to command. Say what you will to me, my queen, and I will lie in the beds of the women for you and produce offspring. Or something, I just made that up, but whatever. It's partial what I did and then partial made up. But that character was a lot of fun. And then I played a dude that was like the General Steel, like the guy, hey, incoming. We got action over here. I've never seen a killer djinn before. So he's like that, that general that he's been around. He's been battle tested, that dude. That guy always comes up from me, incoming! I don't know why. I just always get that kind of stuff. I love it. I love all of it. Like, do you want me just to be the soldier that gets blown up in the first 5 minutes? Cool, I'm your guy. Whatever you need.
Now, with all the different things that you've done, and then whether on stage or provided a voice for it, do you have like a dream role that you haven't done yet? Man, I've got so many dream roles. Okay, so my ultimate bucket list, and all my agents know this, by the way. Okay. Hey, if this ever shows up on your desk, I need it. I need on. So when Kevin Smith put out Masters of the Universe Revelation recently on Netflix, I lost my mind. I lost my entire mind. I watched that show. They only released the first 5 episodes at first, and everyone was like, complain. You know how the internet likes to get the buzzing and complaining, right? Just wait, there's more coming, I swear. So, they put out the first 5 episodes, and I was already all in. I was like, this is it. I collected Masters stuff when I was a kid, and then as an adult, I gave all my action figures to my oldest son years ago. So it's probably all either gone, hawked, or I don't know where it is. But
a Beast Man out of the package from 1982 today sells for like $80. So I started collecting the Origins figures again and the replicas and stuff. And then Revelation came out, and I have every single Revelation action figure that there is. There's not one made that I don't own. I know it's an obsession, but whatever. And, the cast was so beautifully put together. Mark Hamill as Skeletor is brilliant. If I could have been a character, I'd want to be Skeletor because I love playing villains. But to be honest, I'm more suited to play like Hordak because Hordak is more guttural. Skeletor is more up here. Hordak is more in the chest and down. And they haven't put him on the show yet. So fingers crossed. And so they released this season of excellence. It's beautiful. It's animated by Powerhouse Animation, one of the best animation houses. They've done Castlevania. They did Blood of Zeus. They're just incredible artists. And I'm sweating so much in my heat box. I'm sorry. It's such a wonderful line. And then the cartoon was fantastic. And I found out yesterday that they're making a part 2. So they're evolving the storyline. They're doing another one. And I told my agents, as soon as I saw Kevin Smith make the post about the new show, I said, oh, yes, please. And thank you. And then I tagged all my agents and I said, if this comes across your desk, I need on. This is literally a bucket list item for me. So that's one bucket list. Another bucket list would be a Lucasfilm produced Star Wars animated show like Clone Wars, those type of things, Bad Batch. That's a definite bucket list. When I got to meet Steve for the first time, it was so amazing. He was so gracious and as great in real life as he had been online for years, And he met my family and he was so kind to everyone. He took me in and introduced me to the sound editor for Lucasfilm. And I'm sorry, I get choked up when I think about it. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to leave his booth, walk me over to another booth and say, hey, this is the next guy. I just want to introduce you. And I thought that was so telling of the type of mentor that I've chosen, right? I'm a good person and I need to be around good people, and to see how he does that, it informs how I plan on paying it forward when I'm in a position to do so. And Matt Wood is the name of the gentleman, and he couldn't have been nicer. And he's like, yeah, dude, I could hear you guys having a stormtrooper battle and all kinds of and I just was like in heaven. I was like, I'm at the table. I'm at the table. So, all our lives, we dream of, as artists, we dream of that notoriety, of that acceptance into the world. In the R&B music, that came in form of my mentors when I was working with H-Town and Jodeci and some of those guys and Silk. But in voiceover, it's everywhere you look. Every single A-list, I can't think of a single one that I have reached out to that has either just completely ignored me or been rude. I know they exist, okay? I'm not naive. I know that they exist in every circle. And it's probably more in like the independent game dev type groups, that like the Twitter casting calls and stuff like that. They're out there. But the guys that I'm trying to be at the table with, every one of them. I mean, Jess Harnell, the voice of Wacko Warner from the Animaniacs, is a good mentor of mine and a good friend. Steve Bloom, obviously I've already talked about how much I love him. Chuck Duran is the greatest demo producer in voiceover. He's done everyone's demo. He did my demo. He's done the best of the best. Joe Cipriano. So many people and Bob Bergen. Dude, I could, if I'm like struggling with an audition, I can reach out to Bob and he'll be like, just tell me something. I'll be like, duh, I knew that. But he's available to talk to young artists and young actors. And I've never seen it anywhere. It's amazing.
I think to your point about everybody being so nice, I think with voice acting, especially probably with the animation world, I think the people involved know that it's really kind of a legacy. You know, when they're putting their voice on it, they're putting a stamp on it that's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
And yeah, right. And I guess that's probably why they're so welcoming into the community. It's like, well, I'm not going to be able to do everybody's voice. Like, I'm not Mel Blanc.
Right.
So let's open the door to see who else can do it.
That's right. And everyone's got the things that they're really good at, you know, like right. Everyone's got their sweet spot, and everyone has their own unique voice. And that's the thing that we really, really talk about in our, our social media groups and stuff like that, is that what you bring to the table, specifically your voice, your true unique voice, that's what separates you from everyone else. And so you never have to be like, oh, well, everyone's just like me, or I'm just like no, you're not. There's something about you that's different, whether it's your experience in life, whether it's how you view the world, how you view certain subjects. Something about you is uniquely individual to you. And that's the voice we try to find. And that's the voice I try to bring to every role, because they're all different parts of me. Right. But they're, some I got to reach down deep into the darkness to find, like this Byron Chronicles. I did a teaser spot for it. And it was like, there was an old rock group in the 80s called Iron Maiden. Mm-hmm. And they put out a song called Number the Beast. At the very beginning of that song, there's a dialogue. It's kind of like a Vincent Price kind of creepy thing. But I did a promo for the spot and did that. I basically translated that and did it the way I would do this character. And I can't say who the character is at this point because it's still a surprise. But it is the ability to find myself in what someone else wrote or what someone else said or whatever and make it mine. That makes me a unique individual. So I try to bring that to everything that I do.
What do you think is probably the most important thing somebody should know if they want to get into voice acting?
There's so many things to remember. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Make sure that you're finding the right coaches that you vibe with, that you can learn from. It doesn't have to be one coach and it doesn't have to be a billion coaches, but I like to mix it up and get different flavors. Learn to live with gratitude. So we have a saying called an attitude of gratitude. And I try to use that every day. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm having a bad day, I try to think about something that I'm grateful for, and then that's how I push on. Being grateful and expressing my gratitude has actually taken me really far. I had natural talent coming in, but the thing that separated me and that stood out to people that were watching was my gratitude, was my attitude, was the things the way that I carried myself, the professionalism, the ability to, or not ability, but the, just how I'm always trying to help someone, and that's true for everything I ever do. I've coached football and I was like that. Improv, I'm like that. Music, I'm like that in a group or as a soloist. It doesn't matter. You find the things that work. And the thing that I noticed when I watched all those videos on VO Buzz Weekly was every single one of them had something to do with gratitude. Everyone that I looked up to anyway, every one of them. And so I took those common things and I just started implementing them into my life. And because it's really easy to get caught up in the moment. Like things aren't going well for you today. So it's easy to get bummed out. Well, I'm not getting a call back. I'm not getting any gigs. I'm not booking, whatever. Or I'm not finding the roles that I want. I'm not finding auditions. I'm not getting an agent. There's always going to be an obstacle every step of the journey. When I first got in, I had no idea what I was doing. I started sending voice samples to A-list actors, right? Bob Bergen being one of them. And he was like, dude, you got nice pipes, but you're green. You need training. You need acting. You need improv. You need to do all these things. And if you take this craft seriously, that's what you'll do. Come back to me when you started doing some things. I have kept in contact with him for 5 years. Joe Cipriano is the voice of The Simpsons. He does every promo you can think of. You've probably heard him. Live sporting events, the I don't know if he's done the Olympics, but award shows, all this stuff. I sent him a similar letter when I first got into the business as I sent Bob, and he was like, "Man, yeah, okay, you're a great singer. What does that have to do with voice acting? Nothing. Call me when you've got some experience. Or basically, that's the gist of it. And I was hurt. Like, I was kind of crushed because I was like, this dude was like, he's like, I don't even want to hear from you for 6 months. So I got busy. I got to work. I got learning my craft. I got humbled real quick, right? And I just started building up what I could do. And then the next time I didn't wait 6 months to hit him back. I waited a year. Oh, you don't want to hear from me for 6 months? I'll tell you what. A year later, with 1 year of training under my belt, I went back to him and I gave him a read that blew his socks off. He's like, that's a bookable read. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was using these geniuses and these icons in this business to bounce things off of, to see what works, to see what doesn't work, to see if I'm even in the ballpark. Am I even going in the right direction? It was awesome because it was, and I've talked to Joe several times since then, and he couldn't be more proud of what I've accomplished thus far and just the growth from then to now. And he remembers all of that. It's like, yeah, dude, I remember that first email you sent me. I also remember that you're never at a loss for words because my emails are like, I would send novels. And I'm sorry, I just got a lot to say. So I would send a lot of stuff in the message. But it was stuff like that. It was realizing that I need to always be working on my brand because when you stop, everything passes you by. Everyone else keeps going. If you stop, you're falling behind. So I stayed up on the training. I stayed up on the studio. I always had a little bit of a home studio because I've been a musician for so long. I've been recording vocals for 30 years. But the difference between a voiceover studio and a vocalist studio is night and day. Because in an R&B record, ambient sounds awesome. Like a little bit of room noise. Yeah. Ooh, let it get. Ooh, that's crispy. That sounds real nice. Not in voiceover. It has to be dead air sound. It has to be quiet, right? So we go through. We're always upgrading. We're always evolving, and it never stops. You never stop evolving. Another mentor, colleague, and coach of mine, Tom Antonellis, is my dialect coach, and he and I have a similar philosophy in that we're always learning. We always want to be learning because when we stop learning is when we stop growing. And I always want to be at least chasing the cusp of greatness. If I'm not great, I want to be great. If I'm great, I want to be better. Right? And I've always been like that my whole life. Whatever I was doing, whether it was wrestling, martial arts, football, soccer, music, always evolving, trying to find better ways to be a dad and a husband. I've always tried to make myself better. And sometimes I'm successful, sometimes not so much. But when you're not successful, you learn from it, and it's always a lesson in it. So maybe that didn't work out that way. What did work out? Okay, let's evolve that portion of it. And then you do it in stages, and you do what you can handle when you can handle it, Yeah, so speaking of just advice for guys, you need to have thick skin because you're going to get a lot of no. You're going to get a lot of rejection. But for the more that you build and build and build, a lot of those no's become not right nows. And then those not right nows become pretty soon. And then those pretty soons become a call out of the blue and you weren't expecting, going, hey, remember when we talked a year ago? I got this gig that I need your help with. And that's how it works. That is really how it works. And you have to be prepared when that occurs. So opportunity favors a prepared person. Study. Get with coaches. Get with people that help you along. Demos are a crucial part of it, but they're really expensive. So you have to kind of build up to that. I've been blessed in ways that I've worked with people that have really kind of stuck their neck out for me and taken me under their wing in an essence. And I would love to, man, speaking about bucket list stuff, man, anything Star Wars, anything Marvel, anything DC, anything, if they did a G.I. Joe remake, I'd want to be in that. Transformers, everything. Video games, all of it. I want it all. movie trailers, promos. I want to be the voice of Fox. I want to be the voice of FX. Maybe not Fox, but FX. I'll be the voice of whoever wants me. But my vocal wheelhouse lends more to tonight on FX. Somewhere something gritty, something creepy, something's coming in the hallway. No, but I mean, it's like whatever you want me to do, that's what I want to do. Is that good?
If people want to find out like what you've been up to, where can we steer them?
Sure. Yeah. The best place to get all my information as far as how to reach me, social medias and stuff, is my website. You alluded to it earlier. It's heathmartinvo.com. And from there, you can get to my music. You can get to my album. You can get to my Bandcamp page. You can see samples of some of my work. You can find my social media handles, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. But it's simple. Everything is at heathmartinvo. All my branding is exactly the same across the board. Except music, because music I go by Anthony Martin, which is my middle name and my last name. So my name is Heath Anthony Martin. So name on IMDb is Heath A. Martin, and my name for voiceover is Heath Martin, and my name for music is Anthony Martin, or AM, which is the name of my first album, which is available right now on my website. But my website will get you to wherever you need to get to me. And my stuff is run by me. I don't have someone handling my social media accounts that's, shielding and blocking people from getting to me. I get message requests from people I don't know all the time. And if it's not obviously spam, I'll look at it and I'll respond to them. It might not, some people really just want to know how to get into voiceover. Some people want to know how to get me on their podcast. Some people want to know, where to find the album. I'm not always available, but I'm always reachable. So if I have a tweet that I mentioned in at Heath Martin VO, I'll respond to it. I'll retweet it. I'm very social in that way, and that I don't want to be the standoffish guy that I ran into all the time in the music business. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that's semi-accessible as long as you respect my personal privacy boundaries, like family time and all that stuff. That's my time. But when I'm on here and I'm promoting and I'm growing and I'm branding, I'm available. And otherwise, why would I be on here, right? I'm really busy, but I'm going to scroll for a while, okay? Let's see here. Oh, I want to mention a few things, if you don't mind. I've got a scripted comedy podcast called The Potchki Audio Chronicles. And Oh, Harvey. Oh, there he is. Oh, I've been missing you, buddy. Where you been? He's a little older than I had depicted him earlier. It's Grandpa Flotchki, right here from Mountain Springs. Oh, it's good to talk to you. You don't say, is the bomb packaged and ready to go? No, so we have a scripted comedy podcast called The Potchki Audio Chronicles. It's about a couple of gumshoes that are really... Well, one is pretty good and the other guy's kind of a moron by design. And it's so funny. It's PotchkiAudioChronicles.com. We're up to season 2 episode. I'm not in season 1, but I'm in season 2 episode 1, and we're actually creating episode 2 right now as we speak. I think we're recording this week. I've got that going. Like I said, American Kintsugi, which is a company based out of Seattle, Washington, which is my home, which is fantastic. And it's an animated property. And it's kind of political, but I got a great bad guy, his name is Roadblock. He's an ex-military fighter pilot that's burnt and scarred to hell and got machinery. He kind of looks like RoboCop meets Hellraiser. I don't know. He's pretty dope looking, like he's got his skin's falling off. And he's got he's a deep New York type accent, you know what I'm saying? He's got hey, what are you doing over there? Come here. Now I'm talking to you. He's got that gruff, kind of like Taxi Cab Confessions if he was a real bad guy. I don't know. No, it's not Taxi Cab Confessions. I think that's the late night programming. Honey, what's the name of that show? Oh, never mind. She left me. So, no. His name's Roadblock. You can find him at a cartoon near you soon. Roadblock's a lot of fun. I'm doing a thing called the Byron Chronicles. Like I said, that is at, I don't remember the website, but look up Byron Chronicles on Googly and it will take you right there. You can listen to the podcast. I do a podcast called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Resurgence, where I play the narrator and I play multiple voices, but my main character is the Sith Lord, Lord Tirhar, Dark Lord of the Sith. He likes to laugh. So I like that guy a lot. He's a lot of fun. What else we got going on, man? I just did the I can mention this. It's out and I'm going to be sharing it later today. I just did the trailer for the brand new VR video game called Among Us VR. Those of you that have children probably know what Among Us is, and you're probably annoyed with your children because of it, but I'm sorry, we're coming out with a new and improved version for the VR. It is, you got the crewmates, they look like little minions kind of, and they run around, and you got the imposters. So you got one or two imposters that will either act like they're the killer. I'm not sure exactly the mechanics of the game, but one person did it and everyone else has to figure out who did it or at least live long enough to finish the tasks. Loads of fun, hours and hours of gameplay fun. And I'm dropping that trailer tonight. Ooh, I did a really cool animated film called Beacon. The trailer to that is on my IMDb page. It's the video that plays when you log on to my name at IMDb. And it is, think The Thing meets Aliens meets Last Man on Earth or something. So I play, the name of my character is The Survivor. And I have crash landed on an alien planet. It's an ice planet. It's covered in snow and ice, and it's just terrible conditions. And I'm trying to put up beacons, and I'm trying to get rescued, basically. But it's a tragic tale, and it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I cried most of the session. So, through the whole movie, I'm just like... like through the whole thing. So guys, if you're going to be an actor, this is one thing I want to tell you, and this is from my heart and truthful. You're going to give so much to some of these roles. They're going to require a piece of your soul. But when you leave the booth, just leave it there. I literally cried for like 3 hours when I filmed or when I recorded Beacon. And they didn't use all of it, but they got enough good, gushy stuff to put in there. And I literally had to take a beat and go, wait, I got to collect, because I was really worked up. I was hyperventilating. It wasn't pretty. It was quite ugly, if I can be at liberty to say and to discuss. I don't know if it's not proper, is it? No. And these guys just pop up all the time. They're all... Dude, where did you come from and why do you have a British accent? I don't understand. No, but they do. They pop up all the time. I love them. I love sharing my headspace with all these creations, and it gives me life. It gives me purpose. And the fact that my wife turned me on to voice acting is really special to me, because it showed a level of support that I didn't know was there, if that makes sense. Because there's support in life, but then there's support of artistic endeavors, things that usually our spouses don't quite as understand, the way we look at them and the way we feel about them. And the fact that she was like, yo, why don't you try this? I'll never forget that, ever. And I owe 98% of my happiness to that, to her telling me to make that decision. And that's pretty awesome.
Okay, before I let you go, I know you've been kind of pulling them out of the catalog here. I was wondering, could you improvise a little outro for this interview?
Yeah, absolutely. What are you thinking? This is my go-to guy. I don't even know why he's here. This guy wasn't invited. Vinny, go on. You and Chuck, get out of here. Let's see. Yes. Oh, hello there. Yes. You've been listening to Jim, the podcast Sherpa, as it were. He's quite ingenious, if I do say so myself. I've had just magnitude of pleasure just coming on the show with you. Jim, you've been a gentleman and a scholar, and I appreciate you timelessly. Now, where can the people find you?
Oh, everywhere. And Sherpalution.com, of course. Heath Martin, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. Thank you to all the listeners that watch the show. Man, if you've got dreams, chase them, no matter what, because the only thing that's going to happen is regret if you don't. So if you got dreams, chase them. That's I'll leave you with that.
Let's get back to the Sherpa. Sorry about that.
No! Thank you so much to Heath Martin for your time and for the wonderful voices. And if you like hearing voices, then you want to subscribe to this podcast and maybe to hear some more voices, leave a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Tell people about the Sherpalution. Tell them we need more listeners. More. There are never enough. Okay, I feel better now. You can follow the show on social media, Sherpalution, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And you can also hear it on any of your favorite podcast apps, any of them. And my website, Sherpalution.com. How about that? See, the best of both worlds, folks. So have a listen next week, and we will be back with Too Many Podcasts. And I will be speaking to a guy named Khalil Smith, a guy who lived in a submarine and does a podcast. Well, not at the same time because, it's hard to transmit down there. But Khalil is really cool. I got to be on his show. He came on my show. We got to know each other. He's a clothing designer as well, and he likes speaking to entrepreneurs. Super nice guy. I think a real talent to watch out for, folks. But in the meantime, Mr. Bruce, you know what we got to do. We got to head on out of here and get ready. So, to all of you out there in podcasting land, I say, Viva la Sherpalution. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa Screening Room. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. I'm Mr. Bruce, and this has been a Sherpalu Studios production. Viva la Sherpalution!